There's an AA gun over there. We have to take it out.
Are you gonna pay for that? You just broke her damn gate.
Like it? Shove a sock in it.
Beyond simply being an important part of our history, World War II has definitely taken on the status of a full-on brand within the gaming industry. Games like Medal of Honor and Call of Duty have succeeded in bringing us the excitement and danger of being a soldier in this conflict, and Brothers in Arms is the latest game to do this. It's also the best, not only because it puts you in the thick of the battle with great shooter mechanics, but also because it offers some really effective and enjoyable squad command options. You play as Sergeant Baker here. He's a sergeant in an airborne company, and he and his entire parachute infantry regiment has been dropped behind the lines just before the D-Day landings. His job is to take out the defenses and hold off the inevitable German counterattacks that are sure to come once they figure out what you're doing. The entire game is based on the historical missions fought by these guys over 60 years ago, and a lot of research has been done to ensure that the experience is completely authentic. And it's a completely believable experience, from the high-level strategic setting of it all down to the weapons and individual fire team tactics you'll be using on the ground. After linking up with your men, you'll find yourself taking out enemy gun emplacements, fighting from town to town, sniping from church steeples, and a whole lot of other activities. There are 17 total missions here, which, depending on the difficulty level you choose, should last a good long while. Now, the emotional story itself isn't all that great. The main character philosophizes way too much, but the overall tactical context for the missions is always clear enough that you'll find yourself instantly getting swept up into the action. Trying to add some kind of emotional content beyond that, I think, is pretty much unnecessary.
Just before we jumped, I finally came to the conclusion that I had to swallow my fears, take charge and lead these men. It seems fate has a dark sense of humor.
Now, the shooter mechanics aren't anything we haven't seen before, but they're all done very well here. I particularly like how the weapons are handled. I fired nearly all of these weapons in real life, and the way they recoil and the way they sound in the game is completely convincing. What really sets this title apart from the crowd, though, are the awesome squad commands. Now, most missions will put you in charge of 2 fire teams, and these guys are yours to lead around the battlefield however you want. When you hold down the left trigger, that'll bring up a small circle, and you just aim that where you want the team to go, and they'll go there. It's a very, very easy interface. It's the same sort of thing we saw in Full Spectrum Warrior, but it's more rewarding this time around because you actually get to take part in the battles yourself. Now, a tutorial will explain to you how to use both of these fire teams to take out your enemies. You use one team to lay down suppressing fire, and then maneuver the other team around the flank to take the enemy from the side or the rear. And you've got these little suppression indicators over the heads of your enemies that let you know just how effective your suppressing fire is. If the little circle is entirely gray, that means the enemy is very unlikely to stand up and take a shot at you while you're on the move. Now, since the AI is so smart in this game, it only takes a shot or two for you to be taken out of the action. Unfortunately, the game lets you know that you're about to be hit by sending you some cool signals. Bullets will start to hit near you before you actually get shot, and that'll be telegraphed to you because you're going to see grass flying up in front of your face, and you'll see little dirt clods land on the screen in front of you. Now, even the best player is going to die a lot in Brothers in Arms, and that may turn off some action gamers who are used to more of a super soldier approach in their game. You're also likely to lose members of your fire team pretty regularly as well, and the game gets completely unrealistic here in that all members of your fire team are healed up and ready to go once the next mission starts. It kind of undercuts the realism of the game a little bit for me. There are also tanks on both sides of the battlefield here, and they're super, super deadly. Now, while a Call of Duty tank can go down in 2 or 3 bazooka shots, the tanks in Brothers in Arms are much more realistically armored, and it can take 5 or sometimes 6 shots to bring one down. That makes it even more important to get around behind them where you can attack their weakened rear armor. This is just another way in which the game rewards players who are smart in how they maneuver around the battlefield. Now, to help make sense of all the action and where everything is, the game includes a small compass rose that leads you to your next objective and gives you a good idea of the location and health of your fire teams. There's a larger situational view that offers a paused sort of bird's eye perspective of the game if you need a little more information. Multiplayer only supports 2 to 4 players over 10 different objective-based missions, but because there are also 4 fire teams in each of these levels, the conflicts are going to seem a lot bigger than the 2 to 4 player limit might suggest. My only complaint here is that the objectives are a little too straightforward. Basically, one team will have to blow up a bridge or deliver some orders, and the other team is tasked only with stopping them. I really would have liked to have seen more sequential objectives like they have in Wolfenstein, or perhaps even see alternate objectives for the team. So one team has one objective, the other team has another, and it's a race to see who can finish theirs first. Now, the visuals for this game have a slightly grainy tone to them, and it suits the game well and adds a great sense of reality to the whole experience. The character models and the design of the world around them is very natural, very realistic. I know some of the editors here think the game is a bit too colorful, but I really like the color palette here. Granted, the night scenes are a little too bright, but the other colors aren't as vibrant or solid as you see in some other shooters. Now, the textures themselves aren't really all that great. They get kind of muddy when you get up close to them, but they get the job done. There's no music in the game itself. There is in the loading screens, but not actually within the missions, and that's pretty wise, I think. Instead, you're going to be treated to a symphony of completely believable battle sounds and contextual dialogue. You hear bullets whizzing by your head and slamming into the ground, and they really get your heart pumping. You're also going to hear your soldiers call out enemy movements and shout out when they've scored a kill. That really adds to the experience and helps, also give you a little more tactical awareness. The last thing to talk about is the game's M rating. Parents should be aware that there's a lot of violence in this game, and though none of it is terribly explicit, you do see some disturbing casualties from time to time. There's also a lot of very strong language in the game. Brothers in Arms is definitely going to be spending a lot of time in my Xbox, and if you're a fan of the setting or of smart action games, you're going to feel the same way that I do. This game is great.
I understand the large hearts of heroes. The courage of present times. It's from a poem my dad used to read me as a kid. It amazes me that something so beautiful could be part of something so ugly.